Morning, Taurus. And I'm going to call this Robin, people. Oh, your internal world. The Nine of... I don't know, we're not ready for this kind of energy yet. We've got a Tower and a Nine of Pentacles. Let's see if they come out again. So, Taurus and Robin, people, and we're doing a Celtic cross for you based on Rachel Pollock's one. So, interior world, strength. Just all happened a bit too quickly. I wasn't focusing on the reading yet. And so that's your internal world. How is this making you act in the external world? It's very early in the morning here, and I was looking for something to call this reading. And Knight of Cups. And a bird just flew over the top of me, which I can see in a tree miles away, but there's no way I can see what it is in this fog. And it sounded like it had very large wings. I think it was a crane. That would make sense. It looks tall, and I was going to call it that, but without really knowing. I prefer to focus on the little robins that are coming and checking me out at the moment in the morning. And right, so the basis of this reading, please. Sorry, focus. Basis of this reading for Taurus and Robin, people. We've got the Eight of Swords and something from the recent past. 2 cards. 8 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords. Let's make them sit there. And a potential outcome. It's quite chilly in this fog, I tell you. Where's my coat? Potential outcome. Hello, Robin. Still around. There were 2 of them fighting yesterday when I was here. Hi. It's trying to get my attention. Maybe I should bring something down for it. They like very tiny seeds, don't they? Ciao. Potential outcome, King of Swords. And something coming up in the near future. Something coming up in the near future. Lovely. Empress. And your attitude. Taurus and Robin, people, what is their attitude? That's 3 cards. That's so funny, this one was separate. It does keep wanting to show its face. But it came separately from these 2, which are so much sweeter. 6 of Cups and the 2 of Pentacles. But this Tower's wanting to sneak in. Okay. And your environment. 10 of Pentacles. And your hopes and fears. Hopes and fears. Hopes and fears. The Magician. And an outcome. An outcome. Okay, interesting energy. Lovely, she says. And then we've got the High Priestess and the Devil. So let me just put my hand over there. We'll get to that. So that's the outcome. Interesting. So we've got 14 cards on the table, and 6 of those are majors. It's quite heavy on majors, because majors are only 22 cards in a 78 card pack. So that is a high proportion. So there's something big going on for you guys. Let's just dive straight in. No, let me just check. We've got very few cups. We've got 1 significant cup. Oh no, sorry, we've got 2 cups. We've got 2 swords, 3 swords, Two Pentacles. It's quite sort of balanced, so it feels like Three Pentacles. It feels like keep looking to see that my neighbour's back. He's been travelling and I just don't want to disturb him. It looks like it's between something to do with thought processes, victim-y thought processes around wealth. Not inherited wealth, around what you do, what you've loved, how you make your money, something like that. Let's dive in. So, firstly, we have you internally as the Strength card. What were the two that came out? We had the Tower and something else, but something lovely. Anyway, we're going to go with this. The Strength card. So you're taming some inner demons, or at least attending to them. It looks like he's got his tongue out to me today, big floppy ears. She looks very, very intent on investigating what's in his mouth. So you're thinking about the words you use. So thinking about how you metabolize life, bite into life, chew on things. You're sort of getting to grips with gently something that's got some bite, either in you or outside, some sort of communication or to do with eating or biting or something like that. Something about how you metabolize what's going on with you and how that's making you act in the outside world is lovely. The Knight of Cups. He's coming with his Grail Cup with an offer and he wants to help. There is maybe there's a sense in which you want to help another person. And are they being a little bit aggressive? He's got, I'm looking at these sort of slight beads around the top of his helmet and all that's about, almost like a necklace but on his brow. They're actually rivets or something. He's got a very sort of covered up neck, hasn't he? His expression. Are you being sort of slightly gagged by somebody else? There's some sort of element of your expression that you're needing to get out. And the way that you're dealing with that is that you're coming with love and understanding and trying to sort of work with work with a soft energy in order to kind of create harmony with these two cards. Seeing his fish all over his tunic and the winged Hermes at his spurs and at his helmet. Messengers. I mean, traditionally the pages are messengers, but this guy, he's got Hermes with him. There's something you want to communicate, some loving communication or peaceful communication. The fish is from the unconscious or your imagination, from the deep, deep depths. So you're coming from a very peaceful point of view, internally and externally. But the basis of the situation is this Eight of Swords. And so it's the minor to the major eight of your internal world. So this problem that you're wrestling with, it is quite big. We've got it emphasised. There's a third eight coming up just in the recent future. So there's a sort of sense in which you're working with this energy of unbinding yourself from something. And, you know, we always say about her that if she only realised she could just sort of take off all of these easily, she would just walk away and get either to the castle or away from the castle. I can't help but thinking of Princess Bride when I see that castle and the binds. It's a sort of family favourite book and film, as I'm sure lots of you love it too, but Buttercup, when she's sort of being kidnapped by the prince, That's coming into my mind today. So there's something playful around a kind of fairy tale. Is there a tale you're telling yourself or have been told by your family that is not helpful? Because you really must get yourself untied from these. Let's see what I can see here. The red and the grey. She's got a little smirk on her face. I think that's why I'm thinking buttercup. And a very simple necklace that we can only see in black relief. Bit like his, around his helmet, that are actually rivets, but I was seeing like a necklace around his brow. She has got a little smirk, like she knows full well that she can just unbind herself. So those swords, there's 7 of them that are in a kind of line either side of her and one that's slightly ahead. And it feels like she needs to just sort of wriggle out of those binds, those ties, to some extent, or sort of try and hop over and pick up that sword in front of her and then cut them off. She can. And we've got the King of Swords coming in a potential outcome, so we know that you can. But what is this communication? I'm really curious. So is it coming from you? Is it your own stories, internal messages, victim kind of, because this is very much the card of a victim. So what is it that you're telling yourself that's a bit victim-y, that needs to be moved on? It's not helpful anymore. You're going about it so lovingly, and she's got such a sweet little smirk. But yeah, what is this? It's very curious. So then in the recent past, we've got the 5 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles. So another 8, as I said. This 8 shows you sort of perfecting something. So is it to do with what you do for work? Are you really, really good at it? But is there some sort of stumbling block where you're not being punchy enough with it, or you need to get out of some sort of victim mode? There has been a battle with the 5 of Swords. And is it a battle to keep working on it? Yeah, I mean, if I read them together, it feels like it's a hard-won battle to keep going at something that you are very, very, very focused and committed to, that you're like an artisan with. But it's not always easy. Now, this is a stage card. Just those 2 lines at the back before the water. It's funny water, isn't it? It looks choppy and uncomfortable, but not really overwhelming. And it's so unrealistic, this scene. So we get some of these cards which are scene cards, and for me it feels like maybe it was just a phase where you were having to really sort of force yourself to keep going or fight against some external that was trying to stop you from working. But it wouldn't have been a happy battle, but you have kept going. You are nonetheless the master of this process, and one of these pentacles is under your bench already, ready to go. The other is nearly ready. We need you to take these to market. What else am I seeing here? Something about the way that they're all hung up on the walls. It's one of my lovely godchildren's birthdays coming up, and for one of his birthdays we went to a place where you throw axes at targets, and I was so bad at it, and I love to sort of think of myself as being rah, but I mean it was just comical, like bashing off different directions. Those are making me think of those. So it's like hitting the target, a battle to hit the target, a battle to assert yourself, but you're working on it. But with the fact that this is a stage, and again I'm seeing these funny little dots around his neckline. Do you see on the green thing? Like, so I've seen it on her. She's got this very sort of slight hint at a necklace. And the Knight of Cups has got this sort of almost like a beaded, but it's not, it's clearly rivets, but that's how it appeared to me around the bottom of his helmet. And then again, these tiny, what would those mean? Acupuncture points, jewels that need to become more realised. I think it's just drawing my attention to the area. I mean, okay, with him it's up here, his intuition. With the other two, I think it's drawing my attention to this idea of expression, and he hasn't expressed himself properly. He's had a battle that he probably wishes he slightly hasn't had. You know, it doesn't feel good to win it. So that's either you or someone else around you. There's a sort of scrappy, uncomfortable feeling to this energy, and it's all a bit of a mess. He's got the 3 swords in his hands, but 2 are lying on the floor. It doesn't feel like it just feels like you've been through a period of kind of having to really work hard to keep going, either at this sense of expression or hitting your target, being assertive, because that's what that means to me when we were doing that. You know, it was kind of fun and assertive. What else can I see in him? One is right at the floor. He's sort of got 3 in hand again. Like the 3, you know, because it's sort of 1 at the floor, 1 at his feet, 1 down here, and 1 in his thing. And this guy's got 3 swords. So 3, stability, a number of stability. There is a sense that you're scrabbling for this stability, this voice, this powerful expression, definitely to overcome this victimhood. And that's lovely. As a potential outcome, we've got the King of Swords. So he would definitely just cut off all those ties of this character. He's not having any of that victiminess. He's the intellect. He, at the moment I'm looking across the top of his, because he's got a cowl here, so he doesn't always quite say what he wants to say, but he's got an angel in his, with wings in his crown, and there's around his neck. And there is also a ring that I'm looking at on this finger. This idea of adornment, but plain adornment. Like it needs to be sort of added to somehow. Everything's too plain. You need to sort of big yourself up. There are 2 little fairies that I always like to see in his, that have been highlighted by Waite, sort of whispering in his ear and pulling at his red head dress. And the butterflies and the angel and the ring, they're all much sweeter sort of images than what we think of as the King of Swords, who's incredibly no-nonsense intellectual. He wouldn't want to dally about emotions. It's not to say he doesn't have strong emotions, but he's not really interested or able to express them beautifully. What he can do is cut through rubbish and think really logically about something. And this might be what you have to employ, a sort of brute force to logically get your point out, get your message out, this forceful, powerful message. Yeah. These trees silhouetted in the back and the 2 birds in silhouette. He looks a bit miserable. It's like he's a bit miserable because I want to say he doesn't want to have to keep using all this brute force to get this basic essence of something out. It's like the feeling of this adornment that needs to happen with the filling in of the necklaces and the ring, and a colouring in, like a kind of sense of you really appreciating yourself more and being more Empress, because she's coming up next in the near future. It's sort of like that. This is your card along with Libras, and it feels like you've been struggling to stay in that position of being that bountiful, and like, you know, she's got her wonderful headdress with the 8 stars of Venus and this, I don't know what you call those things that she's holding, but she's resplendent, pomegranates, the necklaces around, the pearls around her neck are much more filled in, and everything is resplendent. There's some laurel leaves around her head. Like, I feel like we're trying to get you more into this, so it's lovely that you pop into this reality in the near future, and that she will be creating something. And this is what I know that I feel like you guys want to do with this in the recent future. There's some project that you're really powerfully trying to create and bring into life, and it's to do with adornment. Like, and maybe you are a jeweler. That I'm seeing all of these beautiful pieces of necklaces and stuff. Like, maybe that's it. It's sort of realising that project more clearly, that it comes into kind of fruition, and that you can go somewhere with it, because you've been working so hard in this artisanal way, and there is this feeling of block. But it could also be about expression, powerful expression, powerfully inhabiting your sense of yourself, and self-esteem, certainly getting out of this. So in your attitude, we see these two came together, the Six of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. So juggling things to do with family, and siblings and past and nostalgia and what you've always loved. Dealing with kind of those concepts, and there's this sort of feeling of a threat coming, or has come, to that tentative balance that you've got. So that, because it kept coming out, this tower needs to be there. Something's not built on firm foundations. This is a stage card. It's interesting. And so there's a sort of sense that it can't be forever with this phase, this stage, the scene might need to be changed. That it's been really, really hard work juggling this. But with things that you really love, with people that you really love, with old ideas, but they've been competing, or you've needed to manage them somehow. Maybe some of the things that you've inherited from childhood are really, really beneficial, and some are not. I'm sure that's the case for most of us. And so you've been looking at both aspects. That there's this threat of this tower. And it's about something, some belief, something from either people from your family or childhood siblings that's not set up properly at the moment, or ideas that you received from that period in your life which need to be... It's like you've been juggling with them so long, and that's why nothing really comes to fruition, why the jewellery doesn't fill in, why the voice isn't strong enough, why the mission isn't powerful enough. And now we need you to root out the bits that are not helpful. It's definitely going to be my neighbour coming down. Unless that was something dropping on a ceramic. Anyway, we need you to root out, or maybe it was just a emphasis. We need you to root out those bits that are holding you back, because it's so tiring constantly juggling, even though you're able to do it. The threat of these ships always coming in, not the threat, the possibility of these ships always coming in, but nothing settled. And what do I see in the... Yeah, I'm looking at all the sort of the broken roof of this house. It's the bits that don't work from our childhood. It's a little bit raggedy. Don't normally focus on that. And it's trying to sort of keep it all together without really acknowledging that some of the things that we're taught, some of the basis of this family pattern, what you've always loved, aren't secure. And here we see the generous child giving to the funny little old lady with the oven glove, or the younger sibling. I always see her as an old lady. A bit like your lovely sense of you here, constantly trying to sort of grapple and give love, and be loving. That's your outer attitude, in order to persuade things into the view that you think they should be. And it's hard, because there's this threatening tower that nobody can do anything about. If that comes down, then that comes down. Now this also has 3 windows, the 3, so the 3 of the swords that I saw being held and the 5 of swords, the 3 coins that are sort of within his grasp of the 8 of pentacles, and then these 3 windows. So it's about stability. We're trying to, this is burning stability, and this instability of the 2 of pentacles, it's like you're trying to find stability from a bunch of attitudes or circumstances that were inherited from childhood or within your family. Like literally trying to get everybody stable within your family, or deal with these. There's a sort of poverty consciousness, a sort of victimhood that isn't right. Now this is a stage card, but I never think anyone points it out. But look, the double lines are at the top here. And this is about your home, your environment. So it is it's everything to you. But if I turn it upside down so that that really is the stage card, what do we see now? We see the tower hanging like the hanged man. We see, what's this? There are those 3 pentacles around something that now looks like a little home. Even though when it's the other way up, it's a tower with some water in front of it. Here it looks like a roof. You're trying to make a stable home. Do you see how it is inverted? It looks like a little simple house. And this would suggest great stability. So there is a sense of kind of great commitment in your environment, work or home. It would suggest great stability, but it it might be sort of more to do with your commitment to those around you and this love, but there needs to be some sort of wealth, which sounds sort of like, I mean, of course everyone wants wealth, but it's not. It's more than that. Sort of a self-esteem, the filling in of the jewels, the ability to go for what you want. Like there's something holding back this clan. I mean, this is the card of generational wealth. So it's almost like you are generationally wealthy people, but something needs to be cut out that has got in and has sort of interfered with it. Is it a curse? It could be. Sounds really weird. I don't want to bring that up and make anyone paranoid. But it feels like there's just a sort of a put upon aspect to what could be great communication, great building of physical artefacts, artisanship, artistry, expression. For me, is coming out today as if, even though you're 100% committed still to this kin, to this story, there's something in it that we need to look at from another way round in order to make it stable. But if I look at all of this upside down, there's 2 dogs, the child, yeah, that house is the only thing that really makes sense upside down. And the feeling that this tower is a bit like the hangman. And again, around that, there are 3 pentacles, as if stability. We're trying to kind of meditate on stability. There always seems to be like the kind of feeling of the basis of the tower there. Because if you look at the basis of that jaggedy outcrop of rocks, that feels like it's not. It's a tower, but it has a shade of it. It's as if it's sort of hiding in the background. And these look like sort of rings of trees, but they also look like the clouds that are in various of these cards in the tower. But there is a lovely sense of stability and commitment, and that can't go anywhere. We just need to, it's like I feel like there needs to be a polish put upon everything to take off something, like to remove some layer of grime, some misthought. your hopes and fears of the magician. You want to be able to be powerful enough to affect this change. You want to be able to be selfish enough to be the magician, and creative enough and unstoppable enough. And we see you as being quite sort of inner and outer, too gentle in a way, not too gentle, beautifully gentle. But I think that you understand that you need a bit like the, when I know they're holding the aloft in a different way, but the sword and the wand there, there needs to be some kind of really forced through change. And the magician has magic, obviously at his hands, and he's got everything he needs on this bench and table in front of him. And what am I seeing from him today? So we've got the female and the male magician, because they both have these. This is your inner world. They both have the infinity symbol above them. She wears her wreath of success. His is sort of a bit divorced from him. She's kind of more in the scene, the story, kind of hidden a little bit, doing her work quietly and persuasively, whereas he's going to be this force that comes in and acts on it. And I feel like you need that, and I think you recognise that. So, and you fear that it won't be there. There's this sort of funny mess of white flowers in the middle that looks a bit kind of undefined. They need to be coloured in again for me, as above, so below. It's a magician would break a family curse, and maybe when I use the word curse, that's going to alarm some people. Maybe it's like just a sort of a bad thought that's passed down generations that needs to be shifted, in order for people to be as resplendent as they really are. And in the outcome here, I'm just going to cover the naked figures. We have the devil and the high priestess. I mean, what a battle that would be. It's like a sort of Marvel comic or film, isn't it? Getting to grips with what this thing is that we're bound towards. I think it's being rooted out by the high priestess. I think that, rather than just the sort of chilly, logical sense of the King of Swords, is what we really need. She is, again, the beautiful pomegranates from the Empress's dress. She now has them as a backdrop, and the moon is at her feet. She understands things just by looking at them very, very clearly. And she can meld opposites, the black and the white pillar. They're great. The great wisdom, there's a great wisdom coming, or a sense of just really observing, and it's going to sort of pull out the obsession, the wrong thinking, the confusion, the underground thoughts that are slightly running the show of the devil. And that will be very, very helpful. What are you bound to? What is stopping you? And now, like, the chains around their necks, which keep them bound to the devil, they are a bit like those funny little things that I kept saying around everyone's neck. These they're not jewels, they're sort of more plain and ugly, and they should be jewels, but they're potentially a bit like chains. So we see you getting to grips with this, because you've got the magician, the strength card, and now the high priestess. These are powerful magical allies. There has to be some sort of change in the other realm in order to break through what's been happening in the real world. So I'm just going to carry on and pull a card from the Enchanted Forest card deck here to see whether we can get any more clarity on this. It does seem really positive, and it will be a good thing to break through, obviously, and for your whole family, I feel. So have you got anything to add to the Robin and the Taurus reading here about breaking through these kind of almost like poverty thoughts from a family situation. 2 of spells. I've not read this one before. Fun. Let's see what it says. I was hoping the sun was going to peek through, but it's really this not going to happen today. 2 of spells. At a glance, divination, decision, setting an intention, the beginning of solving the problem or changing the situation. Yeah, intention setting, that's really important. And the beginning of solving this problem. And a decision, like this kind of magician, like King of Swords, like I'm not putting up with this anymore. This is a place of power. Oh, closer look, it says, the staves in his hands are yew and alder. These are the trees that he's working with. Alder is for prophecy and oracular powers, and the maker of those staves says yew was historically used for wooden ogram staves. It's a deep, dense, dark, rich wood full of resonance from the other world. How lovely. Where did I see the little trees? Maybe I feel like I was looking at little trees somewhere. Oh yeah, here's little trees. So, this is a place of power where ancient wisdom is sought. After paying his respects to the trees, the seeker kneels on the forest floor and takes out a set of small wooden staves. They are carved with symbols that make up an ancient divinatory alphabet, each symbol corresponding to a tree or a shrub. These staves were created over many years, the pieces of wood gathered slowly from different trees, so that each contains the wisdom of that tree. Casting the staves upon the ground, the seeker pores over the patterns, discerns the message, clarifies the question. He listens to what the trees have to tell him. The first step of any spell is to determine what you want. Without a clear intention, your magic will fail. Consulting an oracle can be part of that process of beginning any endeavour. You are doing so right now with these cards. One interpretation of the 2 of spells might be ask again, go ahead, draw another card or 2. Well, we are going to do that, but I think that's really interesting, that kind of clarifying of what you want, because I think that often happens when there's a sort of sense of a block. The best way to block someone is by keeping them in a fog of not really knowing who they are and what they want. That's sort of back to this curse idea, but also if you have this family inability to understand something, or then it's very difficult to get anything done if you don't really realise your own magnificence, or certainly who you are. Asking the question, getting that clear, that's what I feel we need to do. A clear intention, otherwise we can't move forward. The magician, that's what you're really hoping for with the magician. You really need a clear intention. He knows exactly what he wants to create. And the High Priestess is going to ripple out the sort of bounds, the ties to some deep subconscious things that are stopping you from really understanding that. Let's pull a card from the wonderful Rachel Pollock. Where's my brain gone? Shining Tribe Tarot. Oh, this is another one I've never seen before. How lovely. 8 of Birds. I think this might be like the 8 of Swords. Let's have a look. The 8 of Birds. They always have a poem at the beginning. I begin to draw maps of stars. The spirits of old and new ancestors perch on my shoulders. Ancestors. It's this feeling of generations of not understanding. And also, look at this. That's like that funny, that's the sort of basic home shape that when we turn this upside down, because we're inquiring, you see how that basic home shape there, the roof, that's what I see anyway. I begin to draw maps of stars. The spirits of old and new ancestors perch on my shoulders. I make prayers for clear stones of clear stone, of feathers from birds who live closest to the gods. clear stone, so clear intentions. Divinatory meanings, anger, difficulty expressing feelings. That's this thing of not being able to express your feelings and this sort of target with the axe throwing. Oppression, the need to remember and create one's truth. Memories, the painful process of discovering your wisdom. For a writer or an artist, the need to find your way out, your own way of expression. It does feel like you could be a writer or an artist, a jeweler, a voice that's not coming out, some artistic voice. This picture was inspired by the poetry of Muskogee Creek Nation poet Joy Harjo. Where's the picture so I can show it to you? Get that into focus. Is that right? Yeah. In particular, her poem, We Must Call a Meeting. In this poem, Harjo writes of the pent-up anger, the despair, the madness that can come when a people loses its culture, its very language, and yet something refuses to die, coming to life through memory of the ancestors, of the animal spirits, through the curled serpent in the pottery of nightmares. Anger, she says, is a smouldering volcano circled by birds. How wonderful. Give me back my language, Harjo writes, and build a house inside it, and the spiral of the sky above it, and the sun and the moon and the stars to guide us, called promise. In the card, we see a woman whose body has lost its natural grace and freedom. She's drawing stars or perhaps casting stones. People have seen both actions as in this picture. Both are attempts to create a system of divination. Wow, 2 cards on divination. How amazing. A way to recover knowledge of the spirits and the ancestors. Yeah, we're trying to get to some ancestral truth because we've got that 6 of Cups and this tower that's happened to us in the past, to our ancestors. Divination is one of the themes of the Suit of Birds, and here we see it as a powerful need to return to a lost paths, not just of cultural history, but of a person's own journey in life. The woman sits before the volcano of her rage while the bird symbol of liberty fly above her. She cannot just become a bird. I too try to fly but get caught. It's funny, and I was seeing that crane that I couldn't quite see and the robins, so we've got birds in this reading. The crane or the tall bird that I heard above us. But she cannot become a bird. I too try to fly but get caught. While we are always carrying the fool within us, the child who can fly, we often do not know, the child who can fly, we often do not know the way back to that child. We're trying to get back to something that is essential to us. For the woman in this picture, her path to freedom lies through the volcano itself. The house in the mountain bears a glyph of anger above the door. 3 jagged lines with speech lines radiating from the sides. Anger must be spoken. Yeah, this expression. It is. Something's being like those axes that need to be hit into their target. Something needs to be spoken and brought into life. I love this. Anger needs to be spoken. We need to create the language to speak our feelings. The marks along the frame of the house, not yet words or glyphs, suggest the process of creating a language, not just to say what we feel, but even to discover the feelings themselves. Yeah, this lost sense of what do I feel, what do I want, what's my intention. The key to this language is memory of our own truth, our own experience, the history of our people, whoever that might be, all the things that have happened to us. The eye on the door symbolises the memories that unlock the house of speech. Like the 5 of birds, this is not an easy card, but like the 5, its message can carry great power. This is amazing. So it's about we need you to speak out and find a voice, unlock doors. This is what it would be if it was reversed to the self, in the self, a process of recovery, or for artists or writers, the release of blocks to creativity. It's so clearly coming out here. How amazing. What an incredible message for you guys. I love it. Right, I'm going to pull a card. Oh, we're slightly less than I can go. I'm really hoping someone's stuck with this because if you are the person that's stuck with this reading, the people, as in persisted, I feel this is such a potent message. I find it quite exciting. Is there anything we have to add to this message of finding a way back to expression, breaking these Wands. The Devil again. Let's see what this is. I didn't get to the full sense of what the Devil means with the High Priestess. The Devil. What do I see in this one? He's Pan playing his flute, beguiling us with some sort of message system that's not ours or has got us hypnotised. Let's see. How exciting. 15. The Lord of the Gates of Matter, the child of the forces of time. Capricorn. Materialism, doubt, fear, ego, shadow, bondage, attachment, addiction, primal desire, obsession, temptation. Pan has sprouted bat wings to fulfill his role as the devil. He stands on a stone block, his throne. Two beings are bound to it by chains. Serpentine creatures twist and slither in the background. A cherub pokes at one of them out of fear. A cherub pokes at one of them out of fear. Pan's flute. What's that? That's interesting. I guess. Oh, this little cherub at the top on with the sword. Pan's flute tempts and ensnares the beings which bring their dark shadows to the surface. Their demons are being faced. So we need to face our demons. The devil symbolises obsession and fixation with the material world. This is seen in power struggles in relationship or internally via attachment. Dominated by their five senses, people can get lost in materialism and forget that there is more to life than just physical pleasure. Is it that? Is it that you're... I don't really see that in this reading, other than you are Taurus, so you will like nice things. I don't know, that's interesting. I feel like it's more to do with trying to get to grips with the hidden, your hidden dark thoughts, which is what keeps coming up. So that is the root. And then one final teeny tiny little card from this deck that I have no idea how to read, really, the Visconti Sforza Tarot, but because we're in Italy, why not? And let's see what that has to say. So it's got the Page of Cups, but I think he came out because he came out yesterday. He might be slightly loosened. It might be... there we go, 3 of Cups, so 3. It's asking us to focus on that 3, the stability, the 3 of the Empress, the 3 of the tripod legs. The 3 that kept popping out to me is that there is a stable sense here, that we've got a basis from which, and a community from which to pull this truth from. I mean, I feel like you have a very strong clan community, artistic community, real family, but I feel like you need to break something, bring out something from the depths. This devil, this beguilement, this curse, let's just call it that has had you all unable to kind of fulfill, like that story in the 8 of Birds. If you were, in any sense, feel as if your clan has been, and of course it could be that you're from a group of people who've been persecuted, or it could be that your family has been persecuted or beguiled by some crazy ideas. I'm sort of tempted to take just one more card, like how, I know they've got to get clear on their intention, and we've got to use this Magician. Is there anything else? Is there anything else they can do to break this so that they can get into a kind of clear expression if they're artists? Oh, lovely. We've got one of the special cards in her backpack, Saint Teresa. And it is like the crane. Oh my goodness. That's what I thought I was seeing, and I still think he's standing in the tree. I think he still is. In fact, when I've finished, I'm going to use the phone to go in on him, because I do think he is still there. So, Saint Teresa. Now, this is making me laugh. My boyfriend always tells me to stop being a Saint Teresa and calls me Terry if he thinks I'm being a bit too you know, trying to fix everyone else at my own expense, potentially, or, you know, falling into that trap. So Saint Teresa, the air suit of birds. So again, we're back to this birds. So she has these special cards at the aside from the tarot. Like the two cards described just above, this picture was inspired by markings. So these are the previous two, the Sphinx in Eden and Knowledge of Life, was inspired by markings found on rocks along the side of the road. Here we see a bird whose chest is pierced by 3 beams of light. 3, 3, 3, it keeps coming up. And this is a bit like this, the lance on that child is trying to, the cherub is trying to stop the serpent with. A bird, 3. 3 beams of light, while another beam goes down its open mouth, as if it eagerly drinks up light and opens its heart to the overwhelming power of spirit, which in the suit of birds can be experienced as a light enlightenment or art or prophecy. Again, the idea of prophecy. The image on the rock made me think of Bereni's great statue, The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa, in which an angel pierces the saint's heart with an arrow. So again, an angel with an arrow, like that little cherub with an arrow. The card, therefore, is about allowing ourselves to be touched by something overwhelming. So, okay, that's what it's saying. It's just saying you are going to get in touch with these devilly feelings. Go there. Watch it, because that's what the High Priestess does. She has this knowledge because she can just sit and watch and absorb what's really going on and become one with it. She doesn't sort of get up in her head. She feels, observes and watches, and by looking deep into the heart of this, how did they put it? How does Rachel Pollock put it? To be touched by this feeling won't be the thing that could be unlocking, because then you can get to your why, your intention, your reason. Allowing ourselves to be touched by something overwhelming. So the overwhelming sense of the devil. If you go there and allow those deep feelings, and then there's a sense of using kind of divinatory meanings, but it's really the wisdom of the High Priestess. And I imagine that you all have your own cards or system if you're turning up to this kind of thing or looking for symbols in the world. Allow the overwhelming thing to come in order to break the spell, in order to be able to express beautifully, to be truly healed from this ancestral thing. I think this card is really, really key. The 8 of birds. You might be an artist who needs to express more, or a person who needs to know their intention. And there is a sense of familial rage because there's been something suppressed and it needs to come out now, because there is great wealth in your ancestry, which we can see from this card. There's great, great wealth. And there's something that wants to be expressed more fully and realised more fully and not suppressed anymore. How wonderful. Thank you. I hope this helps, and see you again. Bye.